we were pleased the way our kids responded. A lot of guys got a chance to play. A lot of guys played well in the game. I thought the quarterbacks both played well. They executed what we asked them to do. They played with confidence, and we ran and functioned offensively, both run and pass, pretty balanced. I thought, John Burt and Deontay Foreman really played outstanding, maybe their best games that they've played here. And we got to build on it. Confidence is it's a fickle thing, and we need to build on that for this week. It's going to be a huge challenge going to Morgantown and playing an 11 o'clock kickoff versus team. That's a physical team. They play a 3-3 stack. It's a little bit of unique scheme defensively. So it's going to be a tremendous challenge. They've got a bunch of guys on defense that have played a lot of Big 12 football. And it's always a great environment, great fans, East Coast kind of fans, and so it'll be a fun environment. We've got the most prepared team and most mentally tough team will win the game, and that's what we're challenging our kids to do. And so we got to build on what we did last week and go on the road and try to answer a big challenge.
When you went back and looked at the film, I know you mentioned Bird and Foreman. Were they even more impressive when you look back like that film on Sunday morning?
They were. I thought they were good Saturday night, and they were. Both of those kids are explosive kids. They're very aggressive kids. And the plays that they make are aggressive. John Burt. The play he made, I think it's as impressive, him going up and making a competitive catch, is being able to come down and not go down, to keep his balance. He's a high hurdle champ, and those are some of the most special athletes you can find, guys that can run full speed and go over high hurdles. And that's kind of what he did. He went up and got the ball with a guy draped over him, and he kept his balance and finished, and it just shows how special an athlete he is. Really confident. We need him to play that way. I think Gerard gained confidence from that play. And then in the second half, the run that Foreman had, he just showed his ability to run inside, but also to run outside. And he's a big man. He's almost 250 pounds, but to take an outside stretch play like that, and then to hit the seam and then to put the afterburners on was very impressive. So, that's what we didn't have a week ago. We didn't have an open field runner that could make big plays. And so he really answered the bell, and it's going to be important this week. We're going to have to run the ball in this team. This team's a good defense. It's going to be a challenge. They play a kind of a unique scheme. We've played odd front teams in Oklahoma and Iowa State, but these guys are a little different because they stack three backers in the box, and they play an 8-man front. And so you really got to be sharp up front with your offensive line combinations. And get off on blocks. So it's a real challenge. It's a physical environment. It's kind of a tough East Coast environment there. And our kids got to respond. We don't have many kids that have ever played there before. I think Jonathan Gray's one of the only guys. So we're going to have to handle that. Really excited. It's 11 o'clock kickoff, so we can get up and get going.
Jay, when you game plan, do you shoot for X number of carries for this guy, Y number for this guy? How would you like that breakdown?
Yeah, we have certain touches we want guys to get, if that's what you want to call it.
Is it pretty even between Foreman and Gray?
The last game, Deontay got more than Jonathan, and he was hot, so we would like to see that. So, but yeah, we go into games wanting to play guys a certain way, and that changes sometimes during the game.
Your team obviously has struggled when they don't score first, and can you game plan an aggressive mindset for this team, for this offense?
I don't know. We try to be aggressive all the time. Sometimes that's running the ball. Sometimes that's passing the ball. Sometimes that's attacking the structure of a defense different ways. So, sometimes you build up certain tendencies and you try to break them. That's what we did the first play of the game. So, you kind of take everything into consideration and make the best decision for that time. Sometimes you got a gut feeling on a kid, and that a kid's going to come through for you. So, and sometimes you're right, and sometimes you're not right. It's not an exact science, but so I don't know if I answer your question. There, we try to coach aggressively. But sometimes that's running an inside run. Sometimes that's running a power. Sometimes that's running a stretch play. Sometimes it's running a play action pass. So I don't know if I answer your question, but we try to let the players know we have confidence in them by the way we coach them and approach the game. So and that's going to be important on the road, that we handle that aggressively. We don't want to be tentative or wait and see what happens, and I think we've done that on the road. We've gone out there and maybe a guy hopes somebody else makes a play or hopes somebody else does something well. We have to be confident that each one of us can go out and make the play that needs to be made and be anxious to do that. And I think that's a different mindset. When we played the Oklahoma game, we had a whole bunch of guys that were out there willing and ready to make plays. And that wasn't a true road game, but we need that kind of mentality.
What did Kirk Johnson and Ryan Newsom show you?
I thought Kurt practices extremely hard. I think if, for a freshman, he's very confident. He's a guy that stands out every single day. Ryan Newsom is a very mature freshman that handles his opportunities very well. Shows a lot of football knowledge, a lot of savvy, and he's a guy that we have confidence that, if we put him in a tough situation in the game, he's going to know what to do, and he's going to have a good feel how to execute. So, I think both of those guys gave us as coaches more confidence that they can play and perform in critical situations. And I'm excited about both of those guys. The great thing about that game was we had a bunch of, we had more and more young players that got a chance to play. And, we're going to try to play as many young ones as we can down the stretch here and let them gain confidence. This will be another big step, playing on the road at West Virginia, learning how to play in that environment and respond and have your teammates count on you is important for them to learn and understand. And when you can play in this kind of environment, you can play anywhere. So it's a real good learning experience for our guys.
You guys played a lot of offensive linemen against Kansas. Is that the plan going forward? Do you have an idea of 6, 7, 8 guys that you'd like to stick with?
We'd like to play as many as we can. We've been really beat up, and so all the experience that guys can gain really helps us and seasons those guys. So, anytime we get a chance to play more guys, we will. Sometimes when you get in a tough environment, you're not able, you don't have the luxury of doing that. But we're going to try to rotate those guys. Perk is really great because we can play him outside, we can play him inside at guard, and that takes some pressure off of Ced Flowers, who's had some injuries. So anytime we can move a guy like that and show some flexibility, it helps all of them. It takes pressure off of all of them. And it's the same thing at wide receiver. We were basically rotating series, and it kept guys fresh and kept guys into the game, and the guys know they have a role. So we want to continue to build on that. Same thing at running back. Like to get Chris Warren in more. He kind of had a bad ankle and didn't get a lot of practice, but we like to rotate him in there with those other guys to keep them fresh.
Jay, go back to the offensive line. How much, this late in the year, how much is maybe, a guy like Rollerson at center trying to figure out what you got going into spring and next year?
Yeah.
Rodriguez, maybe a guy you haven't seen.
Jake's been coming on, and we've wanted to play him more, and I know Wick has been really pleased with the way Rollerson's practiced, and so we want to see that going in these last 3 games. This last 3 games is important for our seniors, but it's really important for our young players to see what they can do and going and gaining confidence going into the spring, because they're the ones that are going to have to carry the load. And Rollerson's a great example, him and Rodriguez.
Technique-wise, what does Patrick Vahe do well?
Boy, he's one of my favorite guys. Just his competitive nature. He's physical. He plays with a great base, and I think more than anything else, he plays with a great competitive spirit. I mean he loves the game, and that if you watch the end of plays, he's usually wearing his guy out to the whistle and with the hair flying and all that kind of stuff. But he loves to play, and I think that's one of the most exciting things about him and Connor as true freshmen. They have a great passion for the game, and the mistakes that they make, they overcome them by playing so hard. And so Patrick's going to be a great leader. Connor's going to be a great leader. And you got something when you got good young freshman linemen that have maturity and leadership skills, because that's the backbone of your football team. And as we move forward, those guys are going to be, they got opportunity to be future captains because of the personality they have.
Gerard always says he's confident. What do you notice different about him on the road?
I just think that, he's like most quarterbacks. It helps when he starts fast. And Gerard's an athlete. When he's running around and he's moving, he gets into the game. And I think that's always something that we're conscious of. And whether it's sprinting him out or running him early, he gains confidence from being physically involved in the game. So that's just always been his personality, and so we will try to build that as we go in game planning and starting him fast. But that's always important for a quarterback to get started, whether it's getting a completion or getting a run or getting a scramble. Those are all things that kind of get his juices going. So we're going to have to create that, and he has to understand he's not playing by himself. He's got 10 other teammates that all have a job to do, and if he just understands that he just focuses on his job, I think he'll respond a lot better.
He said the outcome is going to go as he performs.
I think every quarterback has that responsibility, but we want to keep pressing on him that he just needs to worry about what he needs to do as a player. And I think as he gets older and more mature, he's going to take on a lot more responsibility. But right now, he just really has to focus in on his execution and playing well. Our team will follow him and his performance if he does that. And he's such a great spark plug for our team. The types of plays that he can make they really juice our whole team up. And so like the first play this past week, when he made big throw, it got everybody going. And he has a chance to do that with his feet as well. So he really doesn't have to say much, to be honest with you, to be a positive influence on our team. He just has to focus in on playing well.